Hello and welcome back. We are jumping right in today because the document we're looking at is, honestly, it's a bit of a wake-up call.
It really is.
We usually spend so much time here talking about the shiny side of tech, right?
Yeah.
You know, the efficiency, the generative tools, all the magic.
Mm.
But today we're making a pivot. We're looking at a stack of research that takes all that optimism and asks, well, a very expensive question. Who pays the price for all this efficiency?
It's a necessary pivot.
Mm-hmm.
The source material for this deep dive, it's not a press release. It's a risk analysis. And it's pretty brutal in its honesty.
It is. We are unpacking an analysis titled India and the Looming Artificial Intelligence Labor Crisis.
Right.
And the subtitle is Where the Punches Really Start Landing. It's The AI Revolution's Dark Side, Job Losses, and India's Preparedness.
Yeah, and just to set the table here for you, our goal isn't to debate if AI is sentient or if it can, I don't know, write poetry.
Right.
But we're looking at the economic fallout that's described in this text. The authors argue that while the West, Silicon Valley specifically, is throwing a party for this revolution,
Sure.
economies like India's are staring down the barrel of a huge structural crisis.
It's interesting you mentioned that disconnect. The report, it opens by contrasting the term revolution with dark side.
Mm-hmm.
Usually in tech circles, a revolution is a good thing. It means upgrades, progress. But here, the dark side, it's not some abstract sci-fi thing. The report defines it very, very specifically.
Exactly. The report argues that every industrial revolution has winners and losers, but this one, the AI revolution, is unique because of the speed and the sector.
Okay.
The dark side here refers to the immediate obsolescence of the very industries that allowed India to rise globally over the last, 30 years?
You're talking about the service sector export model.
That's the one.
Which is huge. I mean, when people think of the Indian economic miracle, they think IT services, BPOs, back office support.
Precisely. And the report makes the case that this dark side is the rapid erosion of that specific advantage. It's not just that, jobs will change.
Right.
It's that the specific value proposition of the Indian labor market, high quality, low cost cognitive labor, is being directly targeted by large language models.
Okay, so let's get into the first pillar the report establishes.
Yeah.
This idea of the looming crisis. Now, I want to be clear for you listening. The report doesn't use the word looming to mean someday.
No, and this is a critical distinction in the text. Often, economic reports talk about shifts that happen over a generation.
Right, like from farming to factories.
Exactly. That took decades. This report uses looming crisis to describe a timeline of maybe 24 to 36 months.
Wow, that's incredibly short. That's barely the length of a master's degree program.
Which is exactly the problem. The crisis part comes from the fact that the speed of the tech is it's outpacing the speed of the educational pipeline.
How?
Well, if you are a student entering a computer science program today, the report suggests that by the time you graduate, the entry-level coding jobs you're training for,
Yeah.
they might be done by an AI agent for a fraction of the cost.
That's terrifying for a student. But why crisis and not just challenge? I mean, we've dealt with automation before. ATMs didn't kill banking. They just changed what bank tellers do.
And the report, it addresses that exact comparison and it rejects it.
Yeah.
It argues that physical automation, like ATMs or robots on an assembly line, they replace muscle or rote physical tasks.
Okay.
This crisis is different because it's cognitive automation. The report points out that India's growth engine is fueled by process knowledge, coding, customer support, data analysis.
The exact things LLMs are getting good at.
The exact things. So it's a crisis because the safety ladder of entry-level white-collar work is effectively being pulled up.
So the looming nature is about proximity. The storm isn't approaching anymore.
No, it's making landfall.
Yeah.
The data in the report suggests that hiring freezes in these sectors. They're already the leading edge of this crisis. It's not theoretical.
And that leads us directly to the second pillar, which is the mechanism. And the report is blunt here. It says job losses, not displacement, not reskilling opportunities. It says losses.
It's the friction point of the entire analysis.
Yeah.
The dark side is quantified in job losses.
But let me play devil's advocate for a second. The standard counter-argument in tech is always that AI creates new jobs. Prompt engineers, AI ethics officers, data curators. Does the report not see that potential?
It does, but it treats that as a dangerous optimism bias, at least for this specific context.
Okay, why dangerous?
The report argues that while AI will create new jobs, It won't create them at the scale or the speed required to absorb the millions of workers who are losing the old jobs.
So it's a math problem.
It is a huge one. Think about the BPO sector, business process outsourcing. The report highlights that this sector employs millions of people in India.
Billions.
Right. So if an AI agent can handle Tier 1 and Tier 2 customer support with, say, 90% accuracy, you don't need 10,000 agents anymore. You might need 500 to handle the really complex edge cases.
And what happens to the other 9,500?
That's the job loss mechanism. You can't turn 9,500 customer support agents into high-level AI researchers overnight. The skill gap is just too wide.
Right.
The report calls this the service sector trap. India jumped from agriculture to services, kind of skipping a broad manufacturing base. And now, that service sector is the most vulnerable to generative AI.
That phrase, service sector trap, that's really sticking with me. It implies they built a house on land that is now sinking.
Or maybe on land that's being flooded. The report notes that the cost advantage, the arbitrage, that was India's superpower. Come to us, we do it cheaper.
Yeah.
But AI is cheaper than the cheapest human labor. Once the cost of the software drops below the cost of the wage, the job just evaporates.
And this isn't just about call centers, is it? The report goes into IT as well.
Heavily. And this is the part that really seems to concern the authors. We aren't just talking about low-skill work here. We're talking about junior developers, QA testers, paralegals.
The middle skill layer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The report indicates that that whole layer is being hollowed out. If you used to hire a team of 10 junior coders to write boilerplate code, now you hire one senior architect to just review the code the AI wrote.
Wow. That eliminates the mentorship model, doesn't it? I mean, how do you become a senior architect if the junior jobs don't even exist?
That's it. You've hit on it. The report identifies this as a broken rung in the career ladder. It disrupts the entire ecosystem of how people acquire skills.
So if you can't get that first job to learn the ropes,
You never gain the expertise to do the high-level work that AI can't do yet.
this sounds systemic.
It is. And that brings us to why the report focuses specifically on India. It's not just about the tech itself, it's about the demographic reality on the ground.
India's preparedness, that's the third pillar. And this is where the geopolitical stakes get really, really high.
Right. You have to understand this concept of the demographic dividend. For years, economists have said India is poised to overtake everyone because it has a massive young population, while the West and China are aging.
A young workforce. It means production power, consumption power. It's usually seen as a golden ticket, right?
It is, usually. But the report argues that AI turns this dividend into a potential disaster
How so?
because a demographic dividend only pays out if those young people have jobs.
Okay.
If you have hundreds of millions of working-age young people and the entry-level jobs have been automated away, you don't have economic growth. You have social instability.
So the looming crisis is basically a collision course between a population explosion and an automation explosion.
Correct. The report puts it starkly. It says India needs to create millions of jobs every single month just to keep up with new people entering the workforce. AI is acting as a massive headwind against that goal.
So when the subtitle mentions preparedness, what's the verdict? Is India prepared?
The tone of the report is skeptical, to put it mildly. It breaks down preparedness into two things: education and policy.
Let's start with education.
On education, it critiques the rote learning model that is still so prevalent.
Just memorization.
Right. Memorizing facts or, coding syntax is useless when a bot has access to the sum of human knowledge. The report argues that the Indian education system is still largely optimized for the industrial and early information age,
Training people to follow instructions and execute processes.
which are the exact things AI is best at.
Oh, wow.
So the workforce is literally being trained for obsolescence. To be prepared, the education system would need to pivot instantly to critical thinking, complex problem-solving, creative thinking, things AI struggles with.
But changing a national education curriculum is like turning an aircraft carrier. It takes time.
Time that the looming crisis says they don't have.
Which brings us to policy.
And that leads to the policy side of preparedness. The report highlights the lack of a sufficient social safety net. If job losses hit that BPO sector, hard say, a 30% workforce reduction in 2 years, where do those people go?
Right.
There isn't an unemployment insurance structure comparable to, say, parts of Europe to absorb that kind of shock.
So preparedness isn't just about upskilling people. It's about basic survival mechanisms.
It's about resilience. And the report suggests that the government is pushing AI adoption aggressively to stay competitive in the market, which, it makes sense. You don't want to be left behind.
But there's a contradiction there. It's a dual-edged sword.
Exactly.
Huh.
Adopting AI fast makes your companies competitive, but it might make your citizens unemployable. The report identifies this tension as the central policy headache for New Delhi.
Do you protect the industry's margins, or do you protect the labor force's wages?
It feels like a prisoner's dilemma. If they don't adopt AI, they lose business to countries that do. If they do adopt it, they hollow out their own labor market.
That is the crux of the labor crisis.
It is. And the report argues that currently the strategy is too focused on the tech side, building the infrastructure, funding the startups, and not nearly focused enough on the labor side,
To people,
the transition support for the millions who will be displaced.
it's interesting. The report mentions the gig economy as a potential fallback. Did you catch that part?
It did, and it was pretty grim.
Mm-hmm.
It suggests that as stable, salaried, white-collar jobs evaporate, more people get pushed into the precarious gig economy, delivering food, driving cars, doing microtasks.
Which just reverses the economic progress of the last 2 decades. The whole goal was to move people out of informal labor into formal salaried roles.
Exactly. The report warns of a regression in labor quality. If AI pushes people back into gig work, you lose the tax base, you lose consumer stability, and you lose that whole middle-class growth narrative.
So when we look at this full picture, the dark side being the rapid automation of these service jobs, the looming crisis being the speed of it all,
Yeah.
and the lack of preparedness in terms of safety nets and education, it paints a very, very turbulent picture.
It does. It moves the conversation from AI is cool to AI is a geopolitical shockwave.
But let's zoom out for our listener. Why does this matter if you aren't in India? Why should someone in the US or Europe or South America care about this specific report?
Because India is the canary in the coal mine for the global service economy.
Say more about that.
The global economy is completely interconnected. If the back office of the world automates that deflationary pressure, it travels. It lowers wages for remote work everywhere.
Huh.
And besides, the service sector trap isn't unique to India. It's just most acute there. Any economy that relies heavily on mid-level white-collar work is facing this same looming crisis.
So this report is basically a case study for what happens when generative AI meets a labor-intensive economy.
It's a preview. And the lesson from the text is that preparedness can't be reactive. You cannot wait for the layoff numbers to spike before you decide to reform your education system.
It's a race.
It is a race. And the report concludes that right now, the technology is running a lot faster than the policy.
Which brings us right back to the title, The Dark Side. It's not just a scary label, it's a recognition that all this efficiency, it has a human cost.
And that cost is concentrated. It's concentrated on the youth who are just entering the workforce, and it's concentrated on economies that bet big on outsourcing.
It leaves me thinking about that timeline again, 24 to 36 months. We're so used to thinking of the future of work as this distant, far-off horizon.
Yeah.
But this report is basically saying the future is already here, and it's handing out pink slips.
That's the takeaway. The revolution isn't coming. It's happened. Now we're just tallying the collateral damage.
A very sobering thought. But this is why we do these depth dives, right? To get past the hype and look at the structural reality.
Absolutely. Knowledge is the only way to navigate it.
We're going to leave it there. A massive thank you to the authors of this analysis for such a rigorous, if frightening, look at the landscape. And of course, thank you for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive. Keep asking the hard questions.